Hi there! As you've already heard, my name is Becca Guess, and I am currently a teacher at Korea International School in Seoul, South Korea. While my current position is that of a preschool teacher, I started my career as an elementary STEM specialist, in which I worked with students from kindergarten all the way through 5th grade. As a teacher of STEM and in my current position, I have seen firsthand how important it is for students to be able to connect what they are learning between the subjects. I have also seen why it is important for students to connect their learning to real-world problems and examples. When learning is authentic, you will find the students in your class more interested in exploring outside of the original given content. Giving students the opportunity to solve real-world problems through transdisciplinary units that cross all subjects allow for the learning to be that much deeper. The 5th grade students I worked with did an entire unit about environmental problems, and they had to come up with ways that they could solve a variety of given problems. These students were given the broad driving question of, how will you, as environmental engineers, design, build, and market a product that rehabilitates or preserves an element of one of the Earth's spheres? Within this unit, the students learn about the Earth and the different biospheres that make it up, and they learn about different areas on Earth where environmental problems exist. The students then picked an environmental problem to focus on, researched their specific problem, as well as solutions that have already been created, came up with their own solutions, picked one, and then sketched, prototyped, and tested their product. Finally, they used their persuasive writing skills to explain how their product worked and defended why their product would be successful. Now, I get it. This seems a little far-fetched for 10 and 11-year-olds to accomplish, but the ideas they came up with were literally out of this world. Some of the various solutions included ways to clean the ocean, like a boat that cleaned up trash, and a water filtration system that would help reuse and recycle much of the dirty water on Earth. If I gave you 10 weeks to learn about and come up with solutions, what do you think you could come up with? I can guarantee that with a little guidance and a good system to solve problems, you too could come up with something as amazing as these students did. Curious, a word I like to use when I think of my students, and especially when they are given the opportunity to let their learning run wild. When was the last time you took a moment to reflect on your own curiosities about something you were teaching or learning? It is really easy for us as adults, myself included, to get wrapped up in what has to be taught or accomplished on a certain timeline and not take advantage of the things in life that make us curious. Take a moment and think, what are some things right now that you are curious about? As you're thinking, you can jot down some things that you are currently curious about. Did you jot some down? Okay, great. My students recently began learning about transportation, and we have been asking all sorts of questions. My favorite question we have come up with is how many people are moving using transportation at one time? Have you ever thought about that? There have got to be a lot of us moving around at any one given moment, considering how many people there are in the world. Now, the important part of this is not to make you think about the number of people moving around the world at a time, but instead to remind you to take your curiosities with stride and apply them to both yours and your students' learning. Now, let's get back to this problem-solving process. I bet you are wondering what this magical system could be. I swear, it's literally magical. Let me introduce the design thinking process. I feel like as I'm saying this, the words should appear above my head with blinking lights around them like a marquee on Broadway. This system or process is a way of thinking that will change the way you solve all sorts of problems and other complications in your life. Just like you needed to take a shift in thinking with STEM, not being multiple subjects you have to hit separately, but instead integrating them together, the design thinking process is also going to be a shift in your thinking. This is a cyclical process that will allow you to methodically be creative and solve problems. The best part? Anyone of any age can use it. If my 4-year-old preschoolers can do it, then I promise that you can do it too. This 6-ish step process, more on that later, allows you to start understanding and empathizing with the user of the product that you are creating or the problem you are solving, brainstorming as many crazy ideas as you can, collaborating with others about your ideas, prototyping and testing your ideas, and then going back and making changes to make it even better. This process gives you the opportunity to build on your curiosities and think outside of the box to problem solve. Throughout the next portion of this seminar, you will be walked through the steps of the design thinking process and be able to practice using them. I encourage you to engage with the process so that you are comfortable sharing this with your colleagues and your students.